Who Speak... God damn it. Welcome to the Few Who Speak podcast. You may notice that Ares is introducing this today. That's because we all simultaneously fired Gray, meaning that we killed him and devoured his corpse. And now I hold all of his starting the podcast energy.
Could use a little more salt.
Yeah, well, now, in the process, they're also speaking about themselves in the third person like an asshole.
Ares does not understand what you're talking about in that manner.
Uh-huh.
Ares,
that's me.
Ares, please.
Today, speaking of my name, today at Chick-fil-A was the first time anyone's actually gotten my name right.
Really?
Everyone always
Congratulations.
Everyone always assumes that it's the zodiac sign and not the god of war.
Okay, but it's really funny, though, because... What did he say?
Ironic. He said ironic.
Ironic?
I see.
Because it's
I see.
So, well, it's interesting, because I was the one in the drive-through, driver's side. There we go, that's the word. I was on the driver's side. So I was the one talking to the guy, because Chick-fil-A has people with, like, their tablets out now taking orders, because that's the most smart thing for them to do.
I fucking hate it.
You're not allowed to go to the menu. You can't go see the menu. I was just, like, trying my best with my very dirty glasses, trying to see through Lily's equally dirty windshield to see the menu that was 2 cars ahead of us. I was just like, nuggets. I know they have chicken here. Give me chicken.
Yeah, good. It's good chicken.
I haven't ordered from Chick-fil-A in years. All I know is that I like their waffle fries.
Waffle fries, they were probably some of the best fries out there.
Yeah.
Compared
this
to,
episode
like,
is sponsored by Chick-fil-A.
McDonald's is still better.
Absolutely not.
No.
We're too gay for Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's true.
So so the guy took the order. He's like, "Can I get a name for that order?" And I said Ares, and he said like, "Oh, like the Greek god."
The Greek god of war specifically.
Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, that's right." And then AJ was like, "No one's gotten it right before." And then he gave us the weirdest look, like AJ having their name is like, I don't know, like the worst thing to have ever happened. I don't know.
What?
He like shook his head and got really confused and everything.
I'm pretty sure he's...
Puts his hands on his hips, shakes his head, looks down.
I think he just assumed that Ares was lying.
Just like turns into a fucking villain.
I don't like to talk about Mormons on the podcast, but if you're Mormon, you have a guaranteed job at Chick-fil-A for your first job.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Almost every 15-year-old Mormon kid gets a job at Chick-fil-A.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I just looking at my waveform, and I just see the fuck up car outside.
So that is the source of the Mormons' power. Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
Chick-fil-A.
And Staples.
Staples. And the FBI.
And the FBI.
Oh.
And that's the extent of which I'm going to talk about Mormons on this podcast.
So, can I just say, that tablet thing where, like, you have to go through the drive-thru and they fucking come out there and take out a tablet? I hate that shit. I hate it so much. I have not gone to Chick-fil-A ever since this virus thing started, because whenever I go up there and they try and come out there with their fucking tablet, for one, they don't even have a tablet where I live. Like, it's just some girl taking notes on a piece of paper and handing you a paper menu.
The saddest.
We don't even get a menu.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
we don't get a menu here.
Yeah,
just come out.
Yeah, they should just walk up with the paper menu, walk up to the front of your car, and just slap it on the window.
Like they're delivering like a ticket.
Yeah, no.
Put it under the wipers.
When this first happened, I was so utterly confused, because I was just like, why don't I just drive up to the damn menu? You know, they're still taking orders up there. The girl was insistent, to the point where I was just like, listen, I'm driving up to this menu. Take this, give it to the person behind me for all I care. I don't want to risk coming in contact with you.
So the problem is that there's one of two reasons Chick-fil-A would be doing that, or rather, she specifically. But I think the more likely one is that I think she has to. Otherwise, she'll get in trouble.
Yeah, they have to do that. It's protocol from what I understand. Because they started doing that a few years ago. I don't know much about Chick-fil-A because as a kid that grew up Mormon, I refused to work there because I fucking hated other Mormons.
And as a gay person.
And as a gay trans person, I fucking hated other Mormons.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it sucks. I'd only eat at Chick-fil-A maybe once every 3 years. Because I have a really, really bad craving for, like, their waffle fries. Because everything else on their menu kind of blows.
At least,
I like their chicken sandwiches.
Walmart has good off-brand waffle fries.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you know how to cook them right, they can be pretty good.
God damn, you're really making me craving some fucking Chick-fil-A sandwich.
I can't eat any other food there that's not grilled.
Yeah, if it's not grilled, we can't eat it because it's all breaded.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It makes eating healthier easier.
It makes eating something easier because I have a really bad allergic reaction currently that's causing me to be like really, really sick, and I have a head-to-toe rash. It's not fun. So I'm having to go on. It's called an exclusionary diet, which means it's also known as the allergy diet, which is where you can only eat things that have a high chance that nobody could be allergic to it. So like vegetables and that's really it. Vegetables and fruit.
Yeah. And rice.
And rice. And rice. And that's it. Oh, and salmon, which thank God is my favorite food. So what for the next 2 weeks that's all I can eat. And then in 2 weeks I can start introducing food groups one by one until we narrow down what's causing me to be so sick.
Ironically, is it weird that I like feel bad because I don't eat as healthily as you do, even when you're forced to do so?
I mean,
I'm literally
it's really
looking
hard
behind
to eat
me.
Well in America.
Literally looking behind me, there is a can of Lay's stacks that I bought for $1, a half-empty bag of Doritos, and a pack of Zingers that has one Zinger left in it.
Well,
it's a matter of the food that's bad for you is the cheapest food.
Yeah, I was about to say, the only reason I'm able to do this is because my mom's a nurse and very worried for my health right now, so she's doing a lot of subsidizing the amount of money we need so we can figure out my allergies. But we're also about to probably move out of my mom's place.
3 months.
Probably, which means that I'll not be able to eat as healthy once I have to be subsidizing a lot of my own food.
I can see that. Like, I can also see, like, hey, the foods that are bad for you are the cheapest, but I think it's just because I lack self-restraint because I'm richer than I've ever been.
I mean, being frugal and being poor are not necessarily that different.
It's also knowing how to eat healthy because people know what quote-unquote healthy foods are, aka fruit and vegetables, but they don't know like necessarily how to prepare them or like what ones are good to eat. Yeah. So it can be really hard to go from eating the way that you're used to.
What do you mean eating a whole can of sliced pineapple isn't good for me?
Yummy.
It's not.
Tasty.
I think sliced pineapple is yummy.
It gets so slimy from being in the can.
That's because you just have a texture problem.
I don't.
It's fine.
I don't like it.
Makes me feel good.
That's just the pineapple trying to eat you.
Think about it like this.
You have to eat the pineapple before it eats you.
Hold on, no. Think about it like this. Guys, think about it like this. Lion King, slimy, yet satisfying.
It is not satisfying because it makes
Lion King
so slimy.
Lion.
You could not be Simba from the Lion King.
You could not. You could not be King Lion.
I will eat bugs on a dare, but I will not enjoy it.
You cannot be King Lion. King Lion. Lion King. Slimy, satisfying. King Lion.
Thanks for being a living soundboard.
Jordan exists to be the living version.
I ate pineapple. Pineapple can. Pineapple. King Lion.
Simba.
King,
it's a YouTube.
Slimy, satisfying. Pineapple.
Stop it.
I'll wait to do my funny bit for Jordan to get the bad bit out.
And the pineapple. Eat before it eats you. Consume.
Someone with permissions kick her from the call.
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
No, I am FableFew on podcast. FableFew.
Hey.
Episode sponsored by Chick-fil-A.
We're not.
Hey, listen, guys.
Yeah.
No.
There's something that like I need to tell you.
Yeah.
What?
I think we should fire Jordan.
Lilith, can I talk to you in private?
We'll fire Jordan like we fired Gray.
Lilith, can I talk to you in private?
Yeah.
Fired.
What?
Can I talk to you in private?
see.
Okay, we're in private now.
Yeah, like click, click, click. We're walking up some stairs.
Yeah.
What?
Like, hold on. All right. Okay, we're upstairs.
That's some fast climbing.
I think you kicked Jordan out of the Fable.
You're on all fours?
Hey.
Should kick Jordan out of the Fable?
Yeah, I think we should kick Jordan out of the Fable. Obviously, I am not Jordan. I am the interdimensional gay wizard.
Come downstairs. Come get y'all juice.
Okay.
Guys, dinner's ready. Come downstairs.
Guys, dinner's ready. Come downstairs.
Dinner.
Guys, dinner's ready. Come on downstairs.
What the fuck is this bitch?
I want to kill
What are
everybody.
we doing?
You guys started domestic life RP.
Hello. This domestic life RP is sponsored by
We're not
Chick-fil-A.
playing Second Life.
It's not.
No, it isn't.
Stop it.
Hey, guy.
Notices your bowl, Ju-woo.
Hey, Aries, didn't you want to talk to me about... Not to me, but you want to say something on the podcast. You were talking to me in the car earlier.
Oh, I guess Alex wanted to do a bit first, though.
Oh, Alex, your bit?
Oh no, I threw it out because Jordan had too much fun with the bad bit. so my memory trashed that.
Okay.
So it's
Do
gone.
you want me to wait a
It's
second
not
Okay.
so you can reacquire it from your mental trash?
No.
No.
Aries.
No. So
I'd feel bad if I had the ability to.
I wanted to talk about a problem that Lilith and I have. So, if you've been listening to the last 5 episodes, you'd know that Lily and I live together, which means that we do a lot of errands and we drive in the same car a lot together when we're going on outings. So there's a game. I grew up in Utah. There's a game that we play in Utah called Bingo. And when you play Bingo, it's a car game meant for long car drives.
I think a lot of elderly people play it too.
not that version of Bingo.
This is not your average run-of-the-mill bingo, my friend.
This is not for the layman's bingo.
This is advanced bingo.
This is the bingo where your cousin bruises your shoulder because you're on a long drive from fucking Provo to St. George. God, I fucking hate Utah. Anyway, but it's a game called Bingo. It's like the license plate game where it's based on the cars that you see around you as you're driving. Basically, the rules of the game are if you see a yellow car, you have to yell bingo and hit the person sitting next to you. However, if you do not yell no tagbacks, it's a lot like Punch Buggy that way. If you don't yell no tagbacks, the person can call the car again and hit you twice as hard. I introduced this game to Lily when she first moved in with me. Mm-hmm. And now we'll be having like a serious conversation in the car. It'll be like, she made me mad last week, so we were talking in the car, and I was like, Lily, you really pissed me off. That wasn't cool. Don't do it again. Bingo, no tagbacks. But like, you really need to respect my boundaries.
This is not like a joke. There's no like dramatization of the situation. This is word for word how that conversation went. It's gotten to the point.
It's crazy. It's
gotten to the point where I will be in the car and AJ will not be there. I will not be with anyone in the car, and I'll see a yellow car and my brain will just go, bingo, bingo.
It's horrible.
No tagbacks.
No tagbacks.
Just punch the seat.
I don't punch anything.
I talk to Gray on the phone a lot because he's my best friend. So whenever Lily's asleep, and
You used to.
Oh yeah, I used to. He's dead now. We killed him. I used to talk to Gray a lot. So whenever I'm on the phone with Gray talking, I would like mentally have to stop myself from saying bingo because he just either relentlessly make fun of me or be confused until I explained and then relentlessly make fun of me.
This summer, 2 friends on a road trip play the world's most extreme game of bingo.
Well, it's not just bingo, because we also play Punch Buggy and Cruiser Bruiser.
And then, like...
On the highway. Bingo shoves them out of the door. Into
the shot cuts...
definitely made that joke before.
The shot cuts to, a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. There's 10 cars on one side, 10 cars on the other. Every single person has their arm out of the car, and they start screaming bingo as all cars charge towards each other.
Well, it has to be yellow cars.
All of them are yellow.
the reason why Aries taught me that game was because we were doing like Uber Eats, and it was just so fucking boring driving in the middle of the night delivering people's like stoner
disgusting
food.
stoner food. Yeah.
Like they just taught me about like the bingo thing, and I was like, I knew about like Slug Bug and Cruiser Bruiser and that sort of thing. Not heard of bingo before, and I don't know if that's just because I grew up in Texas and they grew up everywhere
I grew up
else.
on the West Coast primarily.
Yeah.
West
I
Coast,
really don't know where its origin is. It's like certain recess games are based on where you grew up. Like iCup.
I love that.
Like what?
Like
iCup.
iCup.
ICUP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not a that's not a regional game. I think that's
You
pretty.
laugh.
I think that's pretty universal.
But the I love the early grade school games like that. A lot of them involve just fucking beating each other up. Like
Yeah.
the one where you have to like slap the top of the other person's
Oh, I
hand.
was
Oh, that's
so
a
good
fun
at that game.
What about Ninja? Do you ever play Ninja?
Oh, I was.
I was a
love Ninja.
master of Ninja, dude. I was
The,
a fucking master.
I remember there was a game where it was to fucking flick the back of a person's ear.
I don't know that one.
I don't know
when
that
we were
one.
in line in the halls.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that was more of like
Middle
seeing how
school
much
was
you could
middle
get
school
away
was
with.
the middle school was the dawning of shouting penis as loud as you can.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
really embarrassing story about the back of someone's head in elementary school.
Oh.
Yeah, I've told Aries this one.
Oh yeah.
It's like what I think of as like the most embarrassing thing I did as a kid that I didn't like think was like a big deal and nobody got me for.
I don't know how.
I really don't either.
Tell the story already, you bitch.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was in 3rd grade and I went to a school that was like it was one of those uniform schools where like it's like the remnants of like a well-off like private school kind of thing. But it's a public school trying too hard to be like that. Well, I went to this school in about 3rd grade, and we had this thing where we'd stand in line for like pretty much everything. I think that's like a typical elementary school thing.
That's pretty typical
Yeah.
up until like 4th grade.
Order.
Well, so in my class, there was this girl who stood in front of me who always had her hair tied up in like a bun or a ponytail or that kind of thing. And I, as a kid who grew up with undiagnosed ADHD, had a very odd, intrusive thought standing behind her that just came up a lot, which is to put her hair in my mouth and just bite it. I don't know why.
To be fair, the texture of hair feels very weird in your mouth, and as an ADHD kid, I had really long hair growing up, and I was constantly sticking my braid in my mouth.
Yeah, I was just understimulated, I think. But so eventually it got to a point where I did it. Like I did it like once or twice. She didn't do anything. She didn't respond. She didn't even seem like it happened to her. Like she didn't notice.
Repeat offender.
Oh my god.
And the teachers didn't see, and I knew what I was doing was wrong.
Me
The
after
worst
sitting in my
thing.
room for 72 hours playing Kirby.
Like, and I don't know.
Another game we had at my school was to hit someone's chin, like to make instead of like to look down at your shirt, flick their nose. It was to slap on their chin.
Ah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I think.
I don't remember what it was
was like
called,
Slam
but I
Dunk
think
or
it was
something
called
like
something
that.
bad. No, Slam Dunk's better, but I think our school had a very not PC one, if I remember correctly, but I don't
Uh-oh.
remember.
Oh, it's like
It's just the
N-word chin or
N-word
whatever.
chin.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I don't think it was racial in nature. I think it was homophobic, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
God.
I don't remember.
In elementary school?
I don't. Yeah, I
absolutely.
don't remember the.
That
my
or
school.
middle school.
My school was pretty rough when
learned-
it came to
I learned
attitudes.
The word faggot in elementary school.
I was about to
3rd
say
grade
the same thing.
Really?
From
I
Yeah.
got
kid
called
named
gay in 5th
Jason,
grade.
who I then teased mercilessly for being an asshole.
I remember learning what swearing was because I was in like, so the way our school did recess and lunch is we'd go out to recess and then they'd blow the whistle and then we'd all have to like line up before we were allowed into the cafeteria.
Oh.
And if the line wasn't orderly or quiet, they would let other ones in early and make us wait. And if there was one kid just being loud and obnoxious, you'd be the last one in and then you'd get like 10 minutes to eat. And it was like fucking ruthless. I really don't
prison.
Like, I think that now that I think about it, it's probably the reason why I eat my food so quickly nowadays. But I remember one, like, that has nothing to do with it. I just wanted to tell you how horrible my school was.
Yeah.
But in the line of one of those, I remember I learned what swearing was because the dude was just like, I gotta take a fat piss.
That's pretty good.
I gotta take a fat piss.
Can you imagine like a second grade going like, I gotta take a fat piss?
It was like fifth, but yeah, the dude was like in the grade school like evolutionary high tier where his voice had dropped already.
Really?
And he was like 5 foot, so I was like, holy shit, this sixth grader could kill you.
I'm imagining like Spurg from Billy and Mandy for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
No, this was a tall dude.
No, I had a kid like that in my...
Not stocky like Spurg.
At my school. I remember he was mean to a friend of mine, so I kicked the shit out of him. I was a very violent child.
I think that's just ADHD kids.
The only times I've had a bad thing happen physically is it was an accident, and I was bouncing like a kickball in like the covered area that was like a little tiny... There was like a little tiny area of our recess area that had a roof over it. There was like a breezeway. And like, I would usually hang out there because I fucking hated being outside. Because I hated being there. And I was just bouncing like a kickball, and all of a sudden it bounced forward like I lost my fucking grasp on it. It bounced forward. There was a girl looking down at her feet, and it just bounced down directly up into her nose and just bam, and it knocked her back. No. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I remember saying I'm sorry, but she gave me a look of like, you did this. And I was like, no.
Kids are mean.
I have a similar story.
Oh.
I had this, because my family was poor and in Utah, you couldn't let your kids like walk home or anything because the town I was in had like the highest homeless population in the United States. And
in Utah.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Yeah, no, the town I was in fucking glowed.
Obviously.
So, well, as it is, like, Salt Lake has one of the highest teen homeless populations, period. And I was only like an hour from Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. But I had this after school program that I went to for a while. It was like Discovery Clubhouse or something. I always get the name mixed up because there was a really, really cool children's museum that was nearby called the Discovery Treehouse. And I always get the two mixed up in my head because both of them were painted with trees.
It says there aren't any in Utah.
No, because I lived next to a mountain.
They just pretend.
There was a lot of
like Tom Hanks in Castaway making the volleyball like someone he can talk to, like the Utahans.
Do you want to know what people from Utah
are
what's
called?
The word? Are you ready?
Yeah,
sure. Utards.
What? No!
Shut up.
They're not.
What?
They do not call themselves
You're fucking
that.
with me. No.
No, because they're not called
Utanites.
Utes because Utes are the Native Americans that used to be in that territory and are not anymore.
So they're called Utards?
Yes.
Like the Shaytards, but for Utah?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to pull. Yeah, like the.
Oh my god, that's
stupid. God.
It's not great. I didn't understand why it was bad when I was younger.
Anyway, they I'm gonna call them Utanites. They could fuck off. But
so
they paint trees to just pretend that they have them and talk to them. They think that trees are like a pet, like a dog.
I
lived next to the mountains. It's called Point of the Mountain. It's where all the mountains are in Utah. I lived on...
You would say that maybe that's the point of mountains.
Actually, there's a saying in Utah called... because everyone in Utah runs on what's called Utah time. Which means you're fucking an hour late to everything.
I fucking love that Utah's just this fucked up pocket dimension in America.
Weird,
Yeah, it's
right?
called
When
Mormonism.
you go there and like everything's topsy-turvy, like backwards. We're on a lake of salt. What?
Like,
you can't drink the water there because you have to drill all of your wells through
Yeah,
the sulfur
everything's just a
pocket.
little bit more difficult.
it's like
The
one of those
poverty
things where it's
level
like,
is insanely high. The homeless population's really high. There's no
You
homeless shelters. You have to go to Arizona if you want to be homeless.
The further
talk
you
to
get
someone
into the
from
center
any
of
other
Utah,
states, you talk to someone from any other state, they like talk about leading pretty normal lives. You talk about someone who lives in Utah. What the fuck is going on in that goddamn hellhole?
people like to make fun of like Florida for being strange. Utah, holy shit.
It's because Utah controls the media.
So isolated
Utah
is
controls
the
the
thing.
media.
No, it doesn't. Everything in Utah is so based around Mormon culture and stuff. In Utah, you're one of two people. You're either a Mormon or you're trapped. You have family that's Mormon,
Stop.
so you can't leave.
So I just like to imagine that Utah just has its own rules of reality apart from like
does.
every other place.
It does.
So like the
I
further
can't
you get,
wait to tell you this story.
the further you get into the center of Utah, the more hellish it becomes. It's
Actually,
like Dante's
no,
Inferno.
it radiates from Salt Lake City, which is out
South?
north. It's like no,
Oh.
St. George is south. Fuck you.
Ah.
The
don't
closer
know.
you get to Idaho. Actually, no, I assume BYU is the center of it all. The closer you get to
That's fair.
BYU, the weirder it gets.
Salt
To be
Lake
fair,
City has its own like version of fucking Jason Voorhees coming out the lake.
Well, Jordan, it's really easy. One day we're going to go on a company trip out there to see the cool stuff out there and see how horrible
You
the rest
are.
of Utah is.
You're
Well-
going on a company trip there.
No, I really do
I
want to
won't
show...
come back.
It's a pretty
I'll be
state.
taken.
I really do
I'll be
want to show
taken by
people-
someone.
I want to
By
show
someone?
people the cool stuff
They'll
I'll be
see
kidnapped.
you and they'll be like, "You're a real
You'll-
pretty man."
I'll be walking. No, they won't do that. They'll just be like meat,
They'll,
and then they'll steal me.
Look at how
Fucking eat me.
What?
Why
They
are
can
you tonight's cannibals now?
No,
They,
What's gonna-
they can
what's gonna
smell.
happen?
They can smell
Why?
outsiders from several yards.
The answer to your question, Aries, is why the fuck not? They're everything else apparently.
Hey there, little boy.
happen?
You ready to become
This is
some
a
pig
this is a
meat?
tangent
Ugh.
almost as bad as
Oh.
last week.
Old Utonites
That's
are
pretty
like
good.
No,
Hills
this
Have
one's
Eyes
fun
style
because Gray's not
cannibals.
yelling.
This one's yeah.
Gray's not yelling.
I had a point.
Oh, to go back to Florida,
Oh?
do you know why Florida is always so crazy as it is?
Why?
Drugs.
Because
Florida
they allow you to publicly access the records
Oh.
of the people that they detain and
Oh, that's
capture.
right.
And so like the records, like the media can just get a hold of those bad boys. It's just say what the fuck's going on.
So they're
it's
just
not
a
that
lot
they're
more
like-
if Utah had that same rule,
Oh my
it would
God.
probably be worse.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So,
It would be so bad.
so
I
Aries,
know-
what was your point?
Oh, I was just gonna say that because we were talking about being naughty in elementary school.
Oh.
And I went to this after school care called like Discovery Clubhouse or the fuck it was called. And I loved to play, there was these giant blocks that were each like just these huge Legos. And I loved playing with those. And at one point I made like a big castle where I blocked myself in and I dragged a beanbag in there and I would read my books in there so no one would fucking bother me. And one day this kid goes, "Hey AJ." I was like, yeah, what do you want? It's like, what do you think of this? And just kicks it over. And I was pissed. So I picked one up and I said, "Hey Charlie!" And he whips around and I threw it at him and broke his nose.
Sitcom yell.
Hey,
Charlie!
Hey Charlie!
Hey, you guys!
I like that.
it's pretty good. I like that poll.
Glad
Out
that
of
Ray's
nowhere, I
not
never
here,
watched
so we
that
just
show.
get
It's the
stupider and
it's the
stupider.
Goonies.
Garbage Day!
That's not Goonies.
That's fucking Yes, it
Not the
is. Isn't
Goonies.
that
That's the
fucking
electric
Garbage Day?
company!
No, not Garbage Day. Hey, you guys.
Yeah,
No,
that's
the electric
Goonies.
company.
That's the electric company!
It's Goonies.
Yeah, that's
That is not Goonies.
Sloth says
the
it in
Hey
the
you
Goonies.
guys. Yes, it
It's like
is.
Sloth's
Sloth
iconic
says
line.
it.
And
Sloth says
and
it at the end when
Chunk.
they're like on the fucking pirate ship.
No, I'm not
That's-
saying that it's not from the Goonies. I'm
Spoilers
just
for the
saying
Goonies,
that
by the way.
the specific yell that Lily did was from the electric company.
It's like the thing they open episodes with.
Hold on, I gotta find it now.
They get told the problem of the episode, and then they go, "Hey, you guys!" And that's how they summon the electric.
Such a 90s
That's how
show.
they call upon the eldritch entity known as the Electric Company.
Like you ever watch the Electric Company?
Yes.
No.
Very 90s.
It's so 90s despite running well into the 2000s.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me turn it up.
Oh? Oh no.
So loud.
Yeah, I know it's from the Goonies.
Yeah,
I was
I would love.
referencing
Listen,
was
guys,
the Electric Company.
Guys, I would love to continue this argument, but it's time for a break.
It is time for a break.
All right.
Really
we'll
snuck up on us this time.
Catch you after the cut, then.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I got a topic.
Welcome back to the
I got
Chick-fil-A
I got a
podcast.
Tyler,
I got a topic.
not
I got
Tyler.
Alex has a
Alex
topic.
has a topic.
I got a topic.
Oh.
Keep getting.
All right.
So,
Yeah, what's your topic?
time, awkward things that haunt us when we can't sleep.
Oh no.
Oh.
I got
those.
one. I'll start.
Okay.
Death.
I'll
Okay.
start. And again, going back to elementary school, I was walking home one day, and I was our school has like a big out, like the back of it is just all playground and like fields that we never use, like a soccer field. And then there's just like a asphalt like a path that leads to the back of the fence where it's just an open hole in the fence that you can walk out into like the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which leads directly to my home. And so I walked down there, and that's where usually if kids get picked up from school, they usually get picked up there because it's you don't have to deal with the school parking lot. You can just go to like a fucking residential area and just go park on the street.
That sounds
And
a
so
little
like
scary.
it's all right because there's just a bunch of parents there.
Yeah, I had a middle
But
school like that.
it's a big open area at like 2 p.m. So
Okay.
it's not spooky. But like I was walking by and I saw a kid sitting in the passenger seat of a car waiting for his parent because I think he was talking to another parent, and I thought it was my friend. I thought it was Tyler. Tyler knows Chris, the shorter one.
That one. Okay.
I thought it was him,
Several
and I went up
Chris's.
and he was looking down in the car, and I knocked on the windshield and waved, smiling, and then when he looked up, I was like, "That's not his face," and I just scared some child, and then I walked away.
It's not even that
Yeah,
embarrassing.
right. That's like
Hey,
a really
how
normal feeling
embarrassing.
one.
I have one that haunts me to this day.
Oh.
Yeah. So, as you know, when I was in school, I was a piece of shit, and I got
Yes.
into a lot of fights.
Yeah,
Right?
same. Yeah.
So, this particular instance, it was a bully, and at this time I had not been out as gay yet,
Uh-huh.
right?
Okay.
So it was like 4th grade, right? So this kid, he and like one kid behind him walks up to me as I'm getting getting in line to like get into my class, right?
Uh-huh.
And because I am a moron, I see this guy and I instantly go into like a fight or flight response. And
Okay.
he's like, "Oh, what are you like getting into a stance for?" Because I looked like I was about to run. Because I looked like I was about to run away because I was afraid. And then he was like, "What are you getting into a stance for, faggot?"
Oh boy.
Right? That's what he said. And I was like, "Oh yeah, if I'm a faggot, why don't you kiss me?" And he just looked at the friend behind him like, "What?" And then I walked up to him trying to look all threatening. And then because I am an idiot and didn't know what to do, I looked at him dead in the eye and then smooched him on the forehead.
Oh my god!
For reference, I was taller than him.
See,
I
Alex,
think
what's
now
funny
that's
about that-
embarrassing.
I was taller than him, and he didn't know what to do. He like looked at his friend, and I just got back into line, like all red-faced. And then he walked away, and I saw him the next day, and he just didn't look at me for the rest of the school year.
Hell yeah.
I mean, if
think
anything,
I've
that's
used
a
that like
power.
for
That's just a
Xbox.
victory.
I got teased for
You
it
won.
afterwards because a bunch
Yeah.
of kids saw it because it was like we were all getting in line to get ready to go to class, waiting on our teacher to get in because like the door was locked. But like a bunch of people were like, "What are you gonna do, faggot?" And I was like, "Oh no, I gotta kiss you too."
See, at least
I
now,
eventually, I hated it at first, but I eventually embraced it. That was one of many incidents.
I have one.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I'll be honest, I have a hard time coming up with embarrassing stories because the only way I can deal with everything I've done in my life is to just immediately embrace it as something that I can never change. So the only thing I can think of is one time in elementary school, I was in like 4th grade. I had found this metal rod because there was a garbage dump right next to the school. I found this metal rod
Magic
in the garbage.
wand.
It was
Swinging
a
it
wrought
around.
iron thing from like
wizard's
a wrought
New
iron fence.
sword.
Yeah, basically. And I challenged kids to fight me with it. And this one kid, whom I hated and had threatened me multiple times, I was like, hey, fuckface, come here. And I fractured his arm with it. I didn't break his arm.
Nice.
I just injured the kid.
You committed assault.
I did commit an assault. But he deserved it. So, of course, this gets to the principal.
Whatever you say.
I hide the stick, the wrought iron piece of fence that I had found. I hide it in the grapevine.
Hold on.
It's a crime.
When is this?
This is a full-on crime now.
When is this? When was this? How old
You're
were you?
hiding
What year
evidence.
I
of
was in
school?
4th grade. There's a garbage pile on one side of the school and a bunch.
You did like find a weapon and you're like, all right, and then you just beat someone's arm with a lead pipe and then hid the evidence and then absconded, disappeared.
No, I did not abscond. I managed to hide it.
You wipe for prints?
Let me tell the story, fuckface.
Did the cops find
Guys,
it?
AJ's gonna break my
Are
fucking
you
arm.
alive?
Don't do it, whore. Let me finish my story. Goddamn.
Well, you followed.
Your story.
So there was a grapevine on one side of the school. So I went and I knew the grapevines very well because that's where me and the other degenerates in 4th grade hung out.
I knew the grapevines very well.
So I stash it, and I run out right as the principal comes careening towards me. I smash right into her. She's all like, so, I hear you fractured Nicholas's arm. Or I don't think she was declared a fracture until he came back to school like a week later. But she's like, you injured Nicholas. And I was like, to be fair, he got in a fight with me last week where he said he'd kill me. So I think I was right. She's like, you were wrong. And then I said, but it wasn't me. It was some other kid. I can tell you exactly who it was because I saw them and I know this kid who did it. It wasn't me.
Machiavellian fucking psychopath.
It's not Machiavellian if they're like rescinding their previous statement.
No, I did not say
this is the
that
new
Nick had
American
gotten in a
Psycho.
fight and I was right. I said if I had gotten in a fight with Nick, I would have been in the right, but I didn't because some other kid did it. That wasn't me. I will show you who they are, which is where I went wrong.
Yeah.
I then spend 30 minutes leading her on a wild goose chase around the school because I knew that's how long it would take my grandpa to get to the school since they had called him. And
You thinking that this would absolve you of your crimes?
I'm thinking if I can just run around the school and wait for my grandpa to get there, he'll take me home, and whatever my grandpa will say to me will be a lot less weird than whatever the principal has to say about not getting in fights with people who rightfully deserve to get their arm fractured. So...
Well, one, you can't do that. That's illegal.
That he deserved it.
Fuck
Exiting
laws.
the crime scene.
He tried to stab me the week before. He deserved it.
With what?
A knife.
How did he get a knife? He's a 4th grader.
He's a
Plastic
grader.
knife from the lunchroom.
Aries would fucking thrive in a industrial era England as like a street urchin.
Getting into fucking duels with any person who offends them on the
getting into
street.
Let's just say
fights.
AJ would thrive in prison.
I don't want to be in prison. I
Heads
would
up
like to say I managed to buy enough time for my grandpa to get there. When I got in the car, he was like, "Did he deserve it?" I was like, "Yeah, it was that fucker Nick who tried to stab me
That's the
last week."
fight that you always
That's
sell
the fight
that
that I
quote
always
from?
talk about my grandpa taking me out.
Where
for
you
ice cream.
broke a kid's arm?
Yes, I only
Fractured.
his arm.
Fractured.
There was no breakage.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Boo.
Tyler, do you have a
just
story?
Got cracks in your bones.
Okay, young child, very young, second grade, I think. I was just like running on the sidewalk because I was heading home after a nice day. God, I don't even remember. There's like a dude in a parking lot coming out of the school, I think 60 miles per hour. And he brakes right in front of me, and I'm just like, what? And then he starts yelling at me for no reason, and then drives off, making me feel bad. I didn't even know what I
embarrassed
do.
you almost got hit by someone
Yeah,
else's car?
because like he yelled at me because he's an adult.
Story?
Yeah. I don't really have anything else.
I remember in elementary school we had this program where like the 6th graders would come down to the younger generations and like give the teachers like a 30-minute break and teach the kids how to read for a second because that was a funny idea. But yeah, I remember the dude I had fucking like had his friend while I was reading, like I was in like 3rd grade, like tie my fucking shoes together, but they did like a really fucking hard ass knot that I couldn't undo. And then they couldn't undo. So then they cut my shoelaces with some scissors and then left. So then my shoes kept falling off, so I told the teacher about it and they got really angry. And so instead of punishing like this made me feel worse than probably they did, or maybe equal, because what they did is to punish him, they marched me down to their classroom, put their classroom on hold, had him publicly in front of his entire class apologize to me, and then I left.
That's it?
Like I just had to stand there while they all looked at me, and I was like, I just wanted my shoes.
You know what? I think I got a better one.
I didn't need to be here to witness this.
This one's very vague, but in middle school, like there were a bunch of boys who like, so we had lunch before we got out and got on like 15 minutes of recess or whatever, and some of the boys would just like take their chocolate milk, and then like, like hide it from like the
smuggle
like
it.
Smuggle it outside so that they could either drink it or throw it at the wall for some fucking reason.
Yeah, that's middle school. yeah, that was the middle school, wasn't it?
And as the bell was ringing, so we had to go inside. There was like one last milk carton that apparently didn't explode on the wall and like hit like a girl in the face who was just sitting down next to the wall, and like we all just ran away. We didn't do anything about it. Nobody got in trouble for it. She was just like, "What the fuck?" That's it.
I have another one.
Fucking. Also, to give context for that story, the recess time at our middle school, we didn't have like a yard. We didn't have any.
It was the parking lot.
Grass. Yeah, we didn't have any grass we were allowed to go on. There was grass, but we weren't allowed to go there. We had to just stand in the back parking lot.
Alex, what the fuck back alley like slum school did you go to?
It's cause the school was built
Portland,
like in the middle of like a suburb. So like everywhere around is just streets and houses. So there's no room for grass.
The high school we went to, Lily, was like that.
Yeah, but we didn't have recess.
Well, yeah, we were in high school.
I think you could like go to the library or go do something after lunch, but they kind of do just like shuffle you out of the fucking cafeteria because they did the lunches in shifts back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's when they start getting you ready for like industry and like factory work life, you know. The school system, schoolhouse to the factory kind of bullshit. But I'm rife with embarrassing stories from elementary school. I'll let you guys tell yours.
I think I got all mine out that I can remember.
I have a few more, but I want AJ to go.
I have a short one and then a long one.
Okay.
So the short one is just I'm a very animated talker. Anyone that's seen me talk in person, I talk with my hands a lot. And I like to emphasize things, but I'm also very impulsive. So one time I was at lunch with my crush at the time, who I date later, and my friends at the time. And we had a line of ketchup packets. And my friend, one of them was just going down the row and just smashing them to see how much distance we could get them, because it's middle school. So I'm like, I can get all of these at once. Bet. And they're like, okay. However, I did not realize that my crush was sitting across from me. I did not put 2 and 2 together.
Oh no.
So I whip out my binder, and I was like, watch this! And I slammed down on the ketchup packets with all my weight, covering my crush in ketchup. Just so much condiment all over his face.
So much
and
condiment.
Shirt and hair.
At least he can afford it.
Yeah.
I remember
would you believe
kids
me?
doing fucking. Oh, you go.
Would you believe me if I told you, Aries, that my story is also ketchup packet related?
I would believe you. A lot of school stories are ketchup packet related.
They're the perfect device for evil.
So, I was a little bit more vindictive with my ketchup packet usage.
All right, excellent start.
So, yeah, this was high school, and I had a group of friends. Yes, I did have friends in high school. It's very weird, I know. We all played Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Uh-huh.
And the principal always told us to stop playing Yu-Gi-Oh because it was a game that had like dark magic and satanic aspects.
The usual reasons.
Yeah, the usual reasons. We told him it's a card game. We're not Satanists. Go away. It's a completely reasonable thing. And of course, him being a principal, he's just like, fuck you, I'm going to tell you to stop anyway. We decided we're not going to take that shit. And so we've... Would you believe me if I told you that we literally fucking watched the principal whenever he went to the cafeteria during these Yu-Gi-Oh things, right? We always noticed... Lily.
No, go ahead.
It's good. I liked it. It was good backing audio for the
I did not like it. I cannot listen to two people talk at once.
Yeah, we always noticed that, like, he would always go to the bathroom at, like, a very specific time. Like, we just fucking stalked this principal for, like, a month.
He was pretty regular, you'd say.
Yeah. We tried to get into his inner machinations to figure out what we could do to make him pay for taking away our favorite and only lunch pastime. So,
yeah,
we eventually came to the conclusion that he went to the bathroom at, like, usually this very specific time. So, what we ended up doing was we just took, like, a bunch of ketchup packets from the cafeteria, right? And then when he went to the bathroom, we would always go in there, like, 10 minutes beforehand, right? And then we would, like, I know this sounds creepy, we watched to make sure which stalls he actually go in. We were actually that in depth. Right? We just made it look like it was a coincidence. So, like, we had, like, shifts. Like, one dude would go, like, one day and one dude would go another.
Y'all are calling me Machiavellian.
A stakeout.
We were very in-depth because we really wanted to get him back. So, we just watched the stalls to make sure we knew which stalls he went into. And then when we finally were ready to strike, we put 2 ketchup packets under the bumps on the toilet seat. So that when he sat down, it would spray ketchup all over his legs and pants. And we did that and once we figured it out, and we figured out the formula, we did it every day for a month. So every day he'd come out with ketchup packets on his ass, and then he started changing up his routine and going to different bathrooms, and we just kept repeating the process over and over again until the end of the school year, until eventually at some point he went on to the intercom and said, "Hey, if anybody is, like, putting ketchup packets in the bathroom, we're gonna catch you." And then, like, they had, like, school guards, like, watching the fucking entrances to make sure that nobody was coming out with, like, ketchup packets, and eventually they just stopped making it so people could exit the lunchroom altogether. So we just started doing this thing where one of us every single day would just not come to the cafeteria, and we would just text each other. We'd be like, "Okay, you're doing it today." We did not relent. We were unrelenting.
It's amazing.
And, like, it just got to a point where he eventually figured out it was us, and he's like, "Why did you catch up my pants every day for pretty much a year?" And we were like, "Well, because you told us that we couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore." And he was like, "What the fuck? That's so fucked." And I was like, "You know what's more fucked? Telling us we can't play Yu-Gi-Oh when it's the only thing we can do in your dumbass school. Right? You could have just let us have it. It's a card game."
The school system is not built for neurotypical students. I mean, neurodivergent
very much
students.
built for
It is built for neurotypical students.
It's like, we weren't having a shit. because everybody in the school hated him. He was a known. He was pretty much very well known for being one of those principals.
Principal hard ass.
Principal hard ass. And nobody in the school liked him.
Yeah, we had one of those at our high school.
One of them?
Well, to be fair, it was the first one was when you were a freshman and I was a sophomore. Was okay.
That's fair. I have bad relationships with principals in any of the schools I've been to.
Did you not like Snook and his wife?
I liked his wife. I never talked to him, so I was just kind of lucky. I just kind of have a thing where, like, when I was going to school, I didn't like practically any principal figure ever because I just had a really bad history with them being a very ADHD kid.
I feel like the Stooks did not deserve the fucking beating that they got.
Oh, they got the shit kicked out of them by the system, huh?
Well, do you remember what happened with your class in Miss Snook?
I do remember one of the students pissing on one of her chairs.
Yeah, they pissed in her desk chair.
Oh,
hey.
She was the computer teacher. Someone went down into her computer lab and pissed in her chair.
I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact
command,
that, like,
or did they hold it?
I don't know. The school we went to was a science, technology, engineering, mathematics, early college, high school that was focused on the sciences.
Still doesn't answer my question.
So some kid
don't know.
From we don't even know what grade he was in. I think he was.
We know that he was a freshman.
I just remember.
I need to know.
So
Tyler,
I can tell you what I know, but it was unsolved. It's an unsolved mystery.
Yeah.
Basically, because her class was a required course, it was your first technology credit. It was like the one that you needed to do anything.
It was the computer basics course.
A lot of the kids
kids
who were going to this school were very used to doing everything easily and like that.
You were either the smart kid or you were forced to be there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that school ate kids like that up for fucking breakfast.
Yeah, no, it sucked.
It was one of those things where it wasn't even that it sucked. It's just they were wholly unprepared for the environment that it was. And
either
also
kids
it sucked.
were unprepared, and the school was unprepared for kids that were actually gifted in the field they were teaching in. I was very much part of the group of kids that was constantly hacking to get the Wi-Fi password that allowed unrestricted internet access.
It was really funny because the fucking IT guy was so irritated all the time.
He liked his students because he was the IT guy.
Not that guy.
Oh, the one from the secondary building?
The district IT guy.
Yeah, the one from the secondary building. Yeah, no, he hated us.
Yeah, no, the fucking IT teacher, he fucking loved us.
Because he was the
I just wanted to get into coolmathgames.com.
Yeah, that was basically it. Because we never did it. It wasn't like we were using it for porn or anything. I just wanted to be able to play Steam games.
Yeah. I wanted to watch YouTube.
Yeah. I wanted to be able to listen to music on my laptop.
I remember this story. Tyler, did Kevin ever tell you this story where he was just walking? So our school had if you wanted to go into like medical stuff, there was like a supplementary building you'd have to go to.
Oh yeah.
Afterwards.
I don't think Kevin told me yet.
Yeah, Kevin would walk to this building, or I think he was coming back from it, but he was pulling into the parking lot at the high school, and he just got out and he was looking at the cars as he was walking in. He saw a dude just getting a blowjob and made eye contact with him.
Really?
Yeah, made eye contact with him as he's in his car.
Yeah, that's high school. He just makes
eye contact, and then he just goes, and he walks into the school.
I have a blowjob story.
You have a blowjob story? AJ, how did you get a blowjob?
I have 2 blowjob stories, and neither of them are,
two?
I
Who sucked your dick?
I witnessed
That's one too many.
Who sucked your dick, AJ?
Who did it?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Who did it? That's my sexy little secret.
That's my sexy little secret. Who sucked my cock? But in middle school, since we're continuing with embarrassing or weird stories, So this was after I started dating my crush from the previous story. We had a mutual friend that lived in my neighborhood because he lived on the nice part of town because, God, Carson's a himbo.
Post
you have to expunge his name,
post the catch-up story arc.
Post catch-up story arc.
He was rich, too.
He was very rich. Is very rich. He did the entirety of the time that I knew him up until the time where I moved away and didn't talk to him for a little while. He did not know what his parents did for a living, despite him having 3 iPads and 2 computers in 2011.
Wow.
Crime.
Commit crime.
Anyway,
I eat the rich. Anyway.
So we had regular movie nights at my place because we had a nice big flat screen TV and we had a couch that was a pull-out couch. So we were able to fit everyone on this couch if we all squeezed together, and we could all fit in the living room, just watch horror movies until like midnight because we all lived in the same neighborhood. So we were going to get our mutual friend who lived in the neighborhood right behind mine because she got lost really easily. And in the meantime, I was like, okay, one of my friends, this is another one of my friends who was dating the friend that got lost. Will you guys set up the movie and start making the popcorn? And,
I know this story.
Yeah, I've told it before, because God, what a story. So then I left with my person I was dating at the time to go find our other friend and bring her back so we could watch whatever fucking horror movie I'd picked up from Redbox at the time. So we come back, and for whatever reason, they're in the bathroom together. And I'm like, that's weird. I think I assumed one of them was in my bedroom and the other one was in the bathroom, because they were right next to each other. And I sit down and start popping popcorn. And then I hear someone shout. And then that's it. It's silent. And they both walk out of the bathroom and go, oh no.
What?
They had fucked in my bathroom.
They shouted?
There was a shout, like an ah, or something.
Like an ah?
Like ah.
Ah.
There was like a yelp.
We are having sex.
I don't fucking know. Listen, it's not my blowjob story, but it is my blowjob story. Fuck you.
I want you to tell your blowjob story where you get a blowjob.
I'd love
the
to.
one that is real.
I
want to
know who sucked your dick.
Yeah, one time there was this really hot person, and they sucked my wang. The end.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
What do they look? How hot were they? Were they
like what were their
10?
defining features? What's their social security number?
I don't know how. I don't know where to take.
Give
this
me the
joke
funny
anymore.
digits on the
The
plastic
joke's
card.
over, guys.
Listen,
You know what?
I have one blowjob story that happened in my house, and another one where I was just in the woods and I happened across 2 dudes. They were just having blowjobs.
They were bros doing bro jobs?
Yeah, I
Tyler,
guess.
Guys,
homosexuals.
Homosexuals.
Tyler, I don't remember if this was a rumor or if it was something I heard or what, but didn't like someone get caught like jerking it in class at one point at our school, in like the back of like a class? I distinctly remember this.
It might have been. I don't remember.
Our school had those 2 incidents that I brought up. A lot of fights. I remember a person that we knew pushed someone else into like a glass trophy case. As like playfully, like a playful push, but it actually just shattered the plate glass. And just like I was in like the science hall of our school, and we all just heard this loud glass shatter from the open door.
What shitty glass?
And then the teacher just like looked over like, oh, and then like ran out of the room to figure out what had happened.
You just reminded me of something awful.
Oh
boy.
It was middle school, and so my skin as a white ginger kid is very sensitive. I had gotten into a poorly chemicaled pool, and I came out with massive blisters on my shoulders, right?
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
So I had this friend, his name was Solomon, and we were good friends, and essentially we were exiting the library and like I had helped him do his homework and he's like, "Thanks for helping me do my homework, buddy." And then he slapped my shoulder, not realizing the chemical blisters were there. Ooh. It popped and I audibly screamed as loud as I could.
Oh.
They didn't even let me go home.
Can you imagine being that dude? Can you imagine the horror of like?
What's wrong with you?
You're like, you're like, thanks,
Did it make like a bubble wrap sound, like a pop, like bubble wrap?
I like to imagine it did. But my mind is blurry. But either way, that's all the time we have for the podcast today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was just real easy.
That'll be the final anecdote is you screaming.
I got a little tiny one.
All right, go for
grand
it.
finale is that our school had an economics course and it was juniors exclusive for the credit. But I got in. I just applied for it sophomore year, and they're like, whatever. And they just put me in with a bunch of juniors, and the whole class was just like the teacher being like, "Here's a lecture, here's a documentary about economics," and then like the next 20 minutes were just the people being like, "Man, I gotta stop smoking weed because I got to apply for a job and I can't pass the test. I gotta get this shit out of my system." But they were just like, "Hey, you want some weed?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." They're like, "Okay," and then they just. Like I was just sitting at like a table with 4 other dudes, and all of them were just like, "God, I'm so fucking hungover." Just like,
high school.
Tired.
There were so many kids
schools.
drinking and smoking weed in high school.
Our high school did not have any big issues. There were the biggest things were fights and a fake bomb threat during finals because someone didn't want to take their final exams.
Yeah.
Shout out to the time I was framed for a bomb threat.
Yeah, and our majority of our problems are just like just dudes being like, "Man, weed's pretty cool. You want? Got some weed."
Yeah, that was our high school was a lot like that. Except
anyway,
it was
send us off, Alex.
That's high school. The end. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.